Hey, it's Michael Rand here after game 2 of Lynx versus Mercury. That's not how it's supposed to go, right? I mean, surprise all around for how that one finished up. Mercury win 89-83 in overtime. The Lynx, who won game 1 with a comeback victory over Phoenix, cough up a 20-point lead basically midway through the third quarter in this game. So that's stunner number one. Stunner number two is kind of the lack of poise and execution down the stretch when things are slipping away. Like, you just don't expect to see that from the Lynx. They've got this kind of pedigree built up. They're the team that does this to other teams. They're not the team that's giving it away. They're not the team that's making the mistakes in the clutch. They're the ones that are forcing their team, like Golden State in game 2 of the quarterfinals, to give up that big lead, to start feeling the pressure, to start making the wrong play. So that was shocking. It was shocking to see the way the Lynx couldn't regroup, couldn't stem the tide, couldn't kind of find whatever was missing, stop the Phoenix run. Phoenix gets it to 10, 12, couldn't get it back up to 15, 18. Phoenix gets it to 8, they can't get over the hump. And it's surprising because of all the Minnesota teams, of all we've seen from the Lynx, you imagine they're going to come through. They're going to come through when it matters the most. It just didn't happen on Tuesday night for various reasons. Like I said, some of those reasons are just kind of baffling pieces of execution. I don't know if it's nerves. I don't know if it's a team starts to make a run. You start to feel it. Like, you feel it. Anybody who's played sports, you can feel it, right? Another team's making a run. You're like, man, this was easy. This felt easy, and now it's not easy anymore. Now we're pressing. Now we're trying to make the perfect play, or we're trying to get it all back right now. We're trying to play beyond ourselves. And that's probably a little bit of what head coach Cheryl Reeve was speaking to after the game. Let's hear from her for a minute here, and we'll hear from Napheesa Collier in a minute as well.
Execution, simple things, pass and catch. And just be able to dribble the ball up the court and get it to us. We're thrown out of bounds. Phoenix certainly was a big part defensively, but not I can show you 4 turnovers right now in a minute and a half that had nothing to do with Phoenix. And so that made us out of sorts. I think that's what led to that. And then obviously losing control of the game. And then, Phoenix, being within one possession and we just could not, kind of get that way about us, to win the game anyway, despite how poorly it had gone for us in the second half. So that was what was uncharacteristic.
Now, so Reeve basically saying, hey, like, some of it is what Phoenix was doing. Some of I think there was 17 turnovers the Lynx were credited with, or were saddled with. Some of that's Phoenix, right? Phoenix made a charge. They started putting pressure on the Lynx, and they didn't respond to it very well. But some of it's just the Lynx not making the right play, not doing the right thing. She said 4 turnovers in a minute 30, where she's like, that wasn't Phoenix. That was us. That's not Phoenix kind of impacting what we're doing. That's us not making the right play. And again, that is surprising. That's a surprising thing when you consider 34-10 Lynx win the first 3 playoff games. The only team that's won the first 3 playoff games. All these other series have been hard. All these other, quarterfinals went to 3 games. Like, they're the ones that have been making these plays. So that was the surprising piece of it. Now, Napheesa Collier had, I think, 24 points. She had a very good game. She was kind of stymied in the second half. I mean, they had a huge second quarter, got that 16-point halftime lead. Like I said, built that to 20 at a certain point, midway through the third quarter. Then Phoenix starts chipping away. Napheesa Collier, after the game, here's what she had to say about both how things went wrong, but also how they regroup in this moment.
Phoenix did a good job coming out aggressive, but I think we beat ourselves. Unforced turnovers, not taking care of the ball when they were pressuring us. I think just keeping our composure in those situations is huge. So definitely it's frustrating, but it's a series. It's a long series, tied now, so we need to go to Phoenix and take care of business.
Now, for being absolutely fair, we also have to talk about some second guessing in the coaching department, right? And it was not even just us second guessing. I think Cheryl Reeve is second guessing herself for a couple things in the final minute of that game. First, so Phoenix was down 5, but they cut it to 3. Lynx call a timeout with 46.8 seconds left, I believe, was what was left on the clock. Out of the timeout, they get a 5-second violation. Reeve post game saying, that was a huge play. I was late with the timeout. Can't be late with the timeout there. And whether she's just taking the fall for it, whether it was bad execution, you got to call. You got to get another one there. You got to be able to not give them the ball back. They capitalize. Alyssa Thomas makes a shot. 77-76 then with 25.5 seconds left. So that is second guessing moment number 1. Second guessing moment number 2. Lynx got the ball. They scored. That Courtney Williams goes to the free throw line, makes 2, 79-76, gets down into the closing seconds. Reeve instructed the Lynx not to foul. Do not foul up 3. She said, in retrospect, maybe you would have liked to see the foul, that extra foul they had. Use a foul at least to kind of push them into that territory. Instead, Sammy Whitcomb makes a 23-foot three-pointer with 4.3 seconds left, ties the game. Nafisa Collier can't get her shot to go at the end of regulation. Suddenly you're tied. A game you were ahead by 20 points in the third quarter. Suddenly you're tied. They come up basically flat. Phoenix has got all the momentum in overtime. They take a big lead. Lynx cut it to 2 with like 30 seconds left, but it was not meant to be. They lose. Phoenix takes it from Phoenix earns it. Obviously, Phoenix earned that win. None of this is going to be easy. Nobody ever said this was going to be easy. Phoenix is a really good team. Like, they've got tons of really good players, and it goes beyond just Alyssa Thomas. They've got a lot of talent on that team. This is a team that knocked out New York, the team the Lynx were supposed to face, right? This is the team the Lynx were supposed to face was New York, but instead Phoenix bounces them. New York fires their coach, by the way. The coach led them to the championship over the Lynx last season. So nobody said this was going to be easy. However, this does feel like a big missed opportunity, right? Like, Vegas and Indiana. Vegas tied that series up 1-1. That thing's going to go, at least 4 games. Lynx had an opportunity. If you win both of these at home, you can close it out Friday in Phoenix. You can close things out, make life a little bit easier on yourself. Take a commanding lead. Ensure at the very least that you are going to come back to Target Center for a game 5, even if you drop those 2 on the road. Now, there's no guarantee there's going to be basketball at Target Center for the Lynx again this season. They've got to win at least 1 in Phoenix to ensure that they play another game at Target Center. They've got to win both there to close out the series before a do-or-die game 5 back here at Target Center. So changes the entire complexion of the series. Like, I don't get the idea that they're terribly worried. I feel like they know this is more than likely a one-off and not who they are. This is not their identity, but still, it is a troubling sort of game to have happen at this point in time, at this juncture of the postseason. Like, now it gets dicey. You got to go to Phoenix. You got to win at least 1. You've got to play better than that. You got to be able to close things out and show kind of how much of the best team you were as the season went along. Let's finish with a few listener reader comments. Humanity says, 20-point lead is the worst lead in basketball. The only coach that can outcoach Cheryl is Cheryl, which is why they didn't foul up 3 late. Again, I think the second guessing is fair. She was even second guessing herself, so we're not the first ones to join that party. If you had it, hindsight's 2020. You always wish you'd done something different when things happen that way. If that 3-pointer hits back rim and they rebound it and the game is over and they win by 3, we're still talking about a lot of these things, but we're not talking about all of these things the same way. Nathaniel says, why did they play so hurried the last 4 minutes of regulation? They were ahead and played hurried, sloppy, and took so many awful shots with time left on the shot clock. It was painful to watch. It was painful to watch. It was so uncharacteristic, like we talked about. It was so much the antithesis of how we're used to watching this team play, of what we've gotten used to as the championship standard of this team, both last decade and now here, with them being, again, the best team in the league, coming this close to winning a title last year, having it taken from them, being on a mission this season. That's why it's so It's just unusual. It's weird to watch when it happens to the Lynx. It's not weird when it happens to the Vikings. It's not weird when it happens to other Minnesota teams. It feels strange when it does happen to the Lynx. Skolny says the Lynx don't play full 40-minute games. Yeah, that's interesting. They really haven't so far in this postseason, right? If you think about both those games in Golden State, they got off to slow starts, had to kind of rally. The first game was a little bit of it was a first quarter slump. So they played most of that game at a high level. And some of it's just the opponent too. But for the postseason, they've not put together a complete 40-minute game yet. This felt like it was going to be it. It felt like it could be it for 2.5 quarters. And then, of course, it wasn't for the last quarter and a half, and they ended up paying the price. So it's a good point. That's a good point there. Tom Hohen says, as we know in the NBA, in the WNBA, the 20-point lead is the hardest lead to hang on to. Like, I don't know. We joke about that. We joke about the leads, things like that. But, really 20-point lead in the third quarter on your home court. You feel like you're going to close that out. The Lynx don't, and now there's work to do. There's tons of work to do. Friday, 8:30 in Phoenix. By the way, shameless plug, I will be at a bar of their own watching that game and doing a post-game podcast live stream from the bar after that game. So come out and join me, join the rest of the crew, join the rest of the fans out there for that one. That should be tremendous. This game takes on a lot of meaning now, knowing that it's 1-1. That should be a fun atmosphere and surely a pro Lynx crowd out there. Lynx, plain and simple, Lynx got to play better. They got to play better. They got to play a full 40-minute game. They got to figure out a way to match Phoenix's intensity, their physicality, everything like that. Whatever it is, whatever was missing for the last quarter and a half, they got to find it fast because Phoenix is not going away.